Good morning and welcome to another part of the Mark 1 Jaguar restoration. Last week was just obviously a brief introduction to the car. Slightly different setting for today's video. We're in my garage at home, and today's video is basically about these two. So earlier this week, one evening, I went and picked up the engine and gearbox for the car. Now this is the original engine and gearbox that the car was built with. I've checked all the numbers, everything matches. So this is a 3.4 litre XK engine. From the colour on the cylinder head, which is like pale greeny bluey colour, and reading up, I believe that's a B-type cylinder head. The engine's actually stuck at the moment, it won't rotate. I'm not going to force it, I'm not going to try anything. What I'm going to start doing is stripping it down. First job today is going to be getting a few bits and bobs off, like getting the distributor cap and leads off, coil out of the way, getting the clutch, friction plate, pressure plate, the flywheel off, a few other bits and bobs like that. Then it'll be carbs and inlet manifold. Get it stripped down. I'm going to get the plugs out and get some WD-40 down the plugs, and I'll also take the chrome, or what used to be chrome, acorn nuts off the cylinder head and get some penetrating oil down those. Lifting the cylinder head on an XK engine can be a bit of a mission. The studs go down and seize in. I'm not quite sure on this one, but I know on some XK engines there's long stud and short stud, and the studs go down into the waterways and they can corrode in the waterways. So then when you try undoing them, they snap off in the block, which is obviously not ideal. So the more penetrating oil I can get down there, the better, basically. So I'll probably not try lifting the cylinder head today. I'll get it as close to being ready to lift as possible, and then leave it for a week or so with some penetrating oil in and let it soak and go from there. The gearbox itself doesn't look bad, actually. I'm going to take it again. I'll take the bell housing off. The bell housing is going to get vapor blasted. I'll take the top of the gearbox off and we'll have a look what's going on in there. We'll get it all cleaned up and sorted out and everything. But the gearbox doesn't actually look bad. Looks like it's either had some work or weathered very, very well. So I'm going to, along with the engine and gearbox, all the bolts are going to get de-rusted and replated. So that all should look quite good. Basically, this is an easy way of being able to work on the car, or parts of it, when I can't actually get up to the garage to work on the car. So if I can just make some progress, it's better than none at all. I also picked up the other night a lot of wood trim, a lot of missing wood trim parts for the car. So the wood around the front doors I've now got. The wood dashboard, the centre panel where the gauges go, and the little glove box cubbyhole in front of the driver I've now got. I've got the missing door handle, the driver's door handle that I mentioned in the first video. I've got that now, and the catch as well. I've got one rear window. Both rear windows were smashed, so I've got those. And a few other bits and bobs as well. So yeah, working my way down the list of parts that I'm missing. I mean, I'm nowhere near yet, but if I can keep picking up parts as I find them within reason, obviously I'm not made of money, so we'll get there. So yeah, crack on today and get this stripped down and see what we're up against. So I'll come back to you when I've stripped a few bits off. So now we're about 40 minutes into the strip down, and as you can see, we've made a bit of progress. So started off with the easy things like the plug leads, distributor cap, coil and coil bracket, engine breather on the front, the water pump. I've put the bolts pretty much back in where I've taken things out for now. I am going to bag and label everything, but for now it's quicker for me to just be able to crack on. Obviously I'm finding things that need replacing. Obviously a lot of things that need replacing. The fan was really badly bent. All the hoses are obviously dead anyway, they're consumables. The water pump will need replacing. I took the carbs off as one lump with the inlet manifold and everything else. Probably a bit of a harder way of doing it, but I wanted to keep it as like its own sub-assembly so I can concentrate on that later. All the dome nuts came off absolutely spot on. So and the spark plugs came out beautifully. So they've all had plenty of penetrating oil down there to help. I've taken the 2 nuts off under there and the 2 on the front as well. I've got to do the other side. So aside from the timing gear, the head is pretty much ready to lift. I did notice that a core plug's missing, but that's good in a way because there's no stud in there. So to me, this is a short stud engine. If someone knows better than me, please feel free to comment. I cleaned the block up a little bit. Thought it was pretty cool that it says 3.5 litre. The later one said like 4.2 in like a different font, you know. Well, I don't know if you can really see it. There's my engine number, KE8268-8, and then that matches to the head number, which is good. So yeah, progress. It's quite good progress. It's, you know, I'm finding out a lot of things about the car, about the engine at least. We'll get to a point today, I think, where hopefully the head's ready to lift. I don't know if we'll lift it today. This is like part 1 of a multi-part, obviously, series just on the engine. I know it might seem a bit silly starting with the engine and gearbox when I've got a rusty body shell sat in the garage needing quite a bit of work, but the fact is the body shell I want done right, and I want it done in a certain way. And the way that I want to do that is to get the whole shell dipped. So there's quite a big expense. I think it's about just over £2,000 to get the shell dipped. So I'd like to make progress. Any progress is good, and rebuilding the original engine has got to be a good thing. Once I've done the engine and gearbox, I'll have the rear axle and the front subframe down here to do. And again, you know, I'll strip those down, powder coat, fresh bolts, plated where needed, fresh bushers, a few little upgrades, but nothing major. And in the background, the body shell will be getting slowly stripped, and everything will be getting cleaned and bagged and everything, and then it'll go off for dipping. The theory being when it comes back, I can concentrate on the bodywork and have the mechanicals ready to go back in. So there is a method in my madness, and I like to be making progress. So yeah, it's all good so far. Everything's coming apart really well actually. Obviously it's not been running a long time, as you can see. Well, everything seems to be unbolting fine. I've had no bolts that have put up a real fight so far, touch wood. I can't complain. It's so far so good. So I'll keep going, probably take the flywheel and clutch off, exhaust manifolds if I can spin engine round. And like I say, yeah, aim to get the cylinder out off today. So I'll come back to you in about half an hour, 40 minutes when we've hopefully done a bit more. So, I think we all know what that means. Success. I've only ever took one cylinder head off an XK before, and it was horrible. It was like, we had to lift it with a crane. We had a crane hanging off the stud, you know, hanging off the head to try and get it off the studs. We were tapping it with a mallet. Oh God, and it would not come loose. This one, undid everything, little wiggle, off it came. So the manifolds all came off really well. Dynamo down there, all came off really well. So first look at what we've got. A lot of goo and corrosion and 2 stuck valves. So there's one and there's the second. So yeah, I mean, this cylinder head's going to need some work. We kind of knew that already. So nothing so far that I'm massively worried about. The machine shop will be able to have a better look and tell me what's what. So that is what it is. I'm not too worried. Regards to the block, a lot of goo, a lot of water. I mean, that's deep. So I think we'll be definitely having a bore, a set of new pistons, and yeah, we'll go from there. So I think that's pretty much it today. I'm gonna have a little clean up, get the old gasket off, get all the water out of it so it can be drying, and that'll be pretty much it for today. We'll do a bit more. So more soon. Like and subscribe. Any comments, any advice, any suggestions, drop in the comments, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, thank you.